Okay, so thank you very much once again for attending the class. Welcome to Environmental Economics Eco 101 once again. So now we will be discussing one of the most important parts of environmental economics, one of the most significant topics of this subject, which is known as the economics of pollution or pollution economics. Okay? So we all are familiar to this particular word pollution. So do you know that why do we have pollution? Why do we have it? We That's the point. Actually, any pollution, whatever you talk about, pollution is the result of waste disposal to the environment. If you look into the factories, we always say, right, emissions or whatever. What is this? This is a form of gaseous wastes. We say that water is getting polluted because of there are a lot of effluents which are being discharged to the natural water body or to the environment. What is this? This is a form of liquid waste. If you look at the roadside, we are saying that it is getting polluted because there are a lot of solid waste or whatever, right? So whatever the form of pollution you talk about, this is always the result of waste disposal to the environment. That is the first point. Okay? So that is pollution. So according to, maybe you talk about scientists or many of the subjects, they say that pollution is one kind of metabolic changes in the environment. One kind of metabolic changes in the environment. Because if you look into the gaseous pollutions where we have gaseous wastes being emitted to the environment, definitely the composition of air is changed, right? You talk about the chemical composition, biochemical composition, that is changed. If you talk about liquid wastes, whenever they are discharged to the water, definitely the chemical composition of the water is changed as well. So the scientists say that pollution is one type of metabolic changes in the environment. But according to the economics or the economists, they try to relate the pollution to the well-being. There is a word, particular word, well-being, human well-being. So whenever there is anything in the environment that is related to our well-being, that can be mental, pleasure, feelings, pain, or even physical, whatever. So whenever that change is related to the environment and our well-being, that is known as pollution according to the economics. So our well-being, human well-being, is what decides the basics of pollution as per the economics. Clear? Okay. So when we say pollution economics, right, this always discusses two parts. The first one is the economic costing due to pollution, and economic instruments to prevent the pollution. Because of pollution, we face or we have lot of economic losses. Do you know this? How? Can you exemplify? But you understand the theme. You have any example that because of pollution, there are a lot of losses in our economy or whatever we say? Yeah. That's a nice point. Because for example, you think of fishes. Maybe you won't get any hilsa fish in Buriganga right now, right? Why? Yeah, so that's an economic loss, right? So that is an example. So if we control the pollution, at that time we will also be able to save lot of money. You see that according to the Blanket Commission on Pollution, the global financial costs of pollution are huge. $4.6 trillion per year, almost 6.2% of global economic output. Because of pollution per year, we have almost $4.6 trillion losses. That's huge. That's almost 6% of the total global economic output. And as I said, that if we could restrict pollution, then we would be able to save a lot of money. And there are examples. If you look into America, the United States, they try to, you can say that, restrict the pollutions, they paid them back. For example, air pollution control pays of a rate at a 30:1. So if you invest $1 to restrict your pollution, that will give you $30 in return. You got the point? So for example, she has talked about the water pollution, just an example. So this water, if I need to keep it clean, right? Maybe I can use some chemicals, I can restrict some people to do that activities. So if I invest $1, in future that will give me back $30. So that's huge, right? So that is the first point, which is known as economic costing due to pollution. The next one is economic instruments to prevent or fight the pollution. So that's what we discussed, that economic instrument, that I'm going to control the pollution, but how? I need some instruments, and that's the second part of pollution economy. Yes, but that is also a part of your economic investment, right? So if you think of that, what I said, that since 1970, US has invested almost $65 billion in air pollution and received almost $1.5 trillion in benefits. Yeah. So you can say that is a saving, you can say that is a profit, or whatever you say. So what are some tools? We have already learned about these tools in our last lectures whenever we are talking about some financial solutions relating to SDGs. For example, charges, fees, or taxes. We talked about taxes on fuel. We talked about taxes on renewable capital, right? If you use that, if you pollute, then pay some taxes or pay some charges. That is one kind of instrument. We can also talk about tradable permits. We also talked about that. You recall that about cap and trade methods, that we need business, but in a limited, so that is called permit, that I have the permission to do at least this amount of economic activity. So that is known as tradable permit. You know about permit, right? So that's it. That is another instrument. The next one is deposit refund scheme. I don't know, maybe we have discussed it in the waste management part in our environmental resource management course. If you think of that deposit refund scheme, we have almost always have a Coca-Cola bottle, right? In a glass Coca-Cola bottle. No, not this one. A glass Coca-Cola bottle. We buy it with 15 taka, for example. But do you know that what is its actual price? Its actual price is 30 taka, for example. Maybe something plus minus 30 taka. But why do we have it with 15 taka? Because we return the bottle. But if you break that bottle, then you will have to pay extra 15 taka. So that bottle will be used for recycling, that can be used. So this is how you can restrict the pollution. So for example, if you think of that, if you think it in this way, that I have bought a Coca-Cola from you and I have paid you 30 taka. After drinking it, I have returned the bottle to you and you will return 15 taka to me. And this is known as deposit refund scheme. This can help us to practice more and more waste recycling, reusing. And if we do it, it will definitely reduce the waste released to the environment and we will be able to control the pollution. Clear? Yes, this can be a practice. There can be a lot of other practices. For example, if you think of, if you return the clothes, if you return a lot of other things, that can also, for example, you can talk about this bag. Maybe after 3 or 4 years, it will go out of order. So maybe she has bought it with 500 taka. So after 4 years, if you give it back, if you get 100 taka, then that 100 taka, you will get it and this bag can go for recycling or reusing. So that's another example that we can use. And the last one is subsidies. For example, if you think of that, whenever you need extra money, the government will give you that, and that is known as subsidies. If you look into universities, in a lot of universities, you have heard that you can have rice, you can have beef, you can have dal, pulse or whatever, only with 20 or 25 taka. Do you know why? But the costing is not actually, the price is not 25 taka, it's higher. The government is giving that money. That is known as subsidies. So this kind of subsidies can also be given for the environment as well, such as payment for ecosystem services is an example. This is one kind of subsidies. Okay?
It's covered by the government.
That the government. Ration, that's an example. So this can also be example, can be used for environmental betterment as well, most precisely for pollution economics, such as payment for ecosystem services. You recall I taught you this. Payment for ecosystem services. What is it? What was it actually? Payment for ecosystem services. If you have some services for the ecosystem, you will be paid, government or any other agency. Okay, clear? Clear? Okay. And the last topic that we will be discussing is circular economy. A new topic. Have you heard of it? Do you know what is it? All the economic activities will be based on waste recycling or reusing. It is a very popular, though comparatively new, but growing concept. The European Union, they are trying their best that, for example, on December 2015, the European Commission, they have placed a report, and the Commission reported in 2019 that the complete execution of action plan. It means that they will move towards more to circular economy. So what is circular economy? Circular economy is something absolutely based on zero waste mechanism. It means that there will be zero waste of resource, zero solid waste, zero hazardous waste, zero liquid waste, zero toxics, zero, whatever you talk about, no waste. So now a question will come to you that how is it possible? Because it's not possible for us to live without producing waste. Waste will be generated. As long as there are human beings, waste will be generated. Any production, this clothes, this pen, this mobile, this production also, it had some waste production as byproducts. This was the product and those waste were byproducts. So the question is that how is it possible? So there is an example given in here. If you think of that this is a leather factory. This is a leather factory. For this leather factory, we will be producing jackets or something like that. For this, we need raw materials, we need heat, we need water. Okay? So, after the production, at the initial stage, there will be some wastes, maybe liquid wastes or whatever, or solid waste. We will filter the waste. So, whenever we filter something, the liquids, we get it, clean liquids, but the residues will be over your filter, right? So, this is the same will happen. At first, we will take the effluents to some ultrafiltration plants. At this ultrafiltration plant, these effluents will be filtered, clean, we will get the clean water, right? So I can again use this clean water for my production purpose. And what is in here? We have left solid. I will take it to some thermal plant. I will use it. I will burn the waste. I will produce some oil, fuel, ash. Yes, I will get steam, gas, heat. I will use it for my practice production. So you can see that whenever any wastes are being produced, it is being managed. So that's why it won't be waste. So that's why there will be no wastes. So that is why this is known as zero waste. So all of these are one kind of economic activities, right? Ultrafiltration plants, producing biogas, bio oil or whatever, then using it. So our whole economic activities will be based on this thing. But the circular economy is a new concept, and a lot of economists, they don't argue with it. They say that whatever the measures you take, ultimately there will be wastes. But it's okay if it's not possible as completely for 100%, let's try it at least for 90 or 80%. That will be also better, right? So try to make it circular. Why are we saying circular? Because it's happening, reusing again and again. If you don't do it, it will go to some straight line. For example, if I don't recycle it, then I can use it again. But if I don't, maybe, yeah. So it won't be a cycle. Okay, so that's the point. So any questions so far? All right, so that's all actually. And in this year, in the BLC, I don't know, yes, so in the BLC you will see that there is a video you will see in there which talks about a village and how have they been absolutely based on zero waste, and their village is right now fully dependent on circular economy. So have a look on that. Okay, so thank you, that's all for today, and I will see you in the next class.